1 minute.
Seth,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
all right, Brian, could you get that?
Got it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Seth, you're an angel.
That's right. You're gonna.
Try.
You're gonna have.
You succeed. Okay. We good to go, everybody? We've got some agendas here. I just need one. Can you pass them around? Push here.
You, no, Alicia? Thank you. You're welcome.
No, Alicia.
You're about to have to put that bottom
Press that thing again.
one more time. Yep, and you're all set. All right. Have a good meeting.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Okay, everybody, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Waterways Commission for Wednesday, March 1st. Let's see. So that's calling the statement to order. And who we have on the TV, we got Brian, Howie, Fran, and Chris. Okay, good. All right. So I'd like to begin. Waterways Commission is committed to providing an environment of respect during meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there is disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcome and respected. We ask our committee members and all who participate to commit to these standards to support and respect our community. With that, we have an agenda that was duly posted in time. And so I'd like to have a motion to accept the agenda.
Okay.
Moved by the harbor master, seconded by, who seconded it?
Brian got it first.
Brian got it. All right, cool. Okay. The next agenda item, all in favor of accepting the agenda? Aye.
Gonna take a.
Yeah, we'll take a roll call. Brian?
Aye.
Howie?
Howie?
Yeah, Brian?
Aye.
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 Aye, okay. Brian, are you a member, are you an associate or just watching?
He's just watching.
He's watching. How about
I'm just
Chris?
watching.
All right, okay.
Chris is just watching.
Chris is just watching too. All right, anybody else here? No, we're good.
No.
Okay, so that's all accepted and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so we do not have the minutes of this meeting. We do not have the minutes of last meeting, so we're gonna skip that one. Alicia's still working on them. So we'll move into correspondence. We did not receive, I did not receive any correspondence. Mr. Harbor Master, did you receive any correspondence? Okay. I'm just taking notes here.
Mike Gibbons is now.
Mike Gibbons has now joined the meeting.
Late.
I'm late. Yeah. Mike, did you have to receive any correspondence?
No.
All right, good. So no correspondence. Harbor Master report. We have a Harbor Master, so we're gonna have a report.
Oh, okay. The Cole Parkway Dock project is underway. The mains are in. The pump out dock is in, and the fingers pump out dock are in. The T is in, and the fingers to the T are in. They're well underway. Things are going along pretty smoothly on the dock replacement project. Do you have any questions?
They still on, are they still on time for completing?
Yes. Clear. Maybe a little ahead.
No, you don't want to say that.
Doesn't mean they can't follow.
Any issues come up, with any challenges so far with,
Nothing that we can't handle.
okay,
A couple things here and there.
nothing,
Nothing major.
okay.
Any surprises? Like they're
Here.
longer, fat, yeah, longer,
They're
fatter,
showing up on time.
longer, fatter, shorter, anything?
Right.
Are you, happy with the quality of the work so far?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, there's a couple of things that I've spoken to the manufacturer about.
Okay. Thank you.
For the most part, trust me, I'm watching it.
I bet.
We'll get what we paid for.
Any questions from Zoomland on this? Okay. Howie, that fisheye behind you is kind of weirding me out.
That's a turtle.
It's watching you, Rick.
Yeah, okay. All right, dredging?
Comprehensive dredge permit, Woods Hole Group is, coming out Monday. Connor from Woods Hole Group is gonna meet with me Monday morning around 9. I have 2 boxes of permits for him to take back to his office. And we, Paul Scott and Sean McCarthy went down to the basement here and pulled up any old permits they had in regards to previous projects, right back to 1912 or 1926, where it was signed off by the Department of War. So he'll take back those back to his office to go over, hopefully to verify that it is a maintenance dredge, not an improvement dredge. So that's going on, moving along.
When will that decision be made that it's maintenance and not improvement?
Once the Army Corps tells us that it's maintenance, not improvement.
So just when they do it? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Like a matter of weeks or months?
Army Corps is moving on its snail's pace. It's probably over a year.
Yes. Do you have a timeline when you'd like to try to see that permit in hand?
We guessed that it would be 18 months to 2 years.
Okay.
Other towns have had issues with the Corps where Harwich, I think it's been 5 years.
Wow.
That won't happen. So we'll get the elected officials there to push the pile.
That's where that is.
Excellent.
Anybody have any questions?
So roughly 2 years?
Yeah,
Something
18 months to 2 years is the projected timeline.
Yeah.
That's what
So,
we're
yeah,
told
yeah.
by, you know.
So, well, I'm sorry, so will they give us a little bit more of a timeline when we get closer to that, let's say?
It's the Army Corps, it's whenever it comes up. DEP and all the other agencies move right along.
Yeah,
It's the Corps.
I only ask because then we gotta figure out funding for
Yeah,
the
it's
rest
just-
piece of it.
It's just the Corps.
Yeah.
Brian Kell, I saw your hand flash up.
Yeah, Stephen, before the 18-month, 24-month window, will we have any idea of the quantity of dredge material that maybe have to be removed?
Yeah, they actually, Woods Hole Group came in 2 weeks ago and they surveyed the 4 areas. I worked with the tenants at the town pier. They moved their boats from one side to the other and then back. I worked with the Lobstermen's Association. They moved their boats. I went over with my staff and we moved the fingers around that are stored from one location to another over at the Maritime Center. And so they were able to survey that complete area, and they surveyed Cole Parkway because pretty much everything was gone at that point from the marina. So we should be knowing at some point probably in the near future from once they figure out if it's maintenance dredge or improvement dredge, what the dredge levels were based on in the previous permits.
Great,
What the
because
quantities are.
at that point, we would be able to project a ballpark
Cost.
idea on cost, right? That's where I'm just trying to dive this to.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
yep.
Other questions or comments on the comprehensive dredging permit subject?
Yes, so it was surveyed, they come up with an idea of how much stuff we're gonna get rid of. Then it has to go through the Army Corps of Engineers. Once they,
Well, it has to go through DEP, Division of Marine Fisheries, Coastal Zone Management. I mean, it's, you name it.
But those-
every acronym is out there.
yeah, but the Corps of Engineers is basically the big slowdown.
Yes.
So when they finally give a thumbs up in 18 to 24 months, then how far are we away from taking a shovel full of mud out of
You
it?
could start probably within, goes out to contract, goes out to bid. You gotta, because it's in the harbor and, you can't do it during the boating season.
Right,
There's gotta be a time of year restriction, from Division of Fisheries. for the
eelgrass, yeah.
Winter flounder, there's no eelgrass. Eelgrass is out by the, entrance. And, eelgrass doesn't grow in the muck.
But so it's, once the Army Corps of Engineers gives us a thumb up, it's,
We can move forward.
the next step is.
Funding,
The rest of the permits will already be pretty much in hand.
unless they expire.
That's what I worry about.
The permits
That
expire.
happens.
Permits expire and you start all over.
Because DEP, you'll get your DEP permits, all those permits will get. And what was happening in Harwich was they actually expired, the DEP permits, and they had to start it all over again.
But to Brian's point earlier, right, we could go, once we know we're getting closer to the end, we could go to RFP for the dredge and then get bid responses back so that when we get the permit in the end. Right. then
Have
it's
somebody
kinda
write it up.
Yeah, then
You don't have to
then
award
we
it.
go for that
Yeah.
year. You don't have to award
But
it
You can run the process.
you can run it,
We've done that before.
in anticipation.
depends on how long, they're not gonna give you,
No,
For 5 years, but.
they'll give you 30 or 60 days.
36 days on the quote, right.
On the quote, they're not gonna give you something for a year.
Yeah.
Brian has a question.
Right,
Yeah, so we would actually want to advance that by going for a grant at least once, if not twice, correct? Which means the sooner we know the quantity and we get closer on the permits, we're gonna want to have at least 2 bites of the apple to get a grant because this project will be in the millions, more than likely. So to be able to receive a 50% match is rather important. Otherwise, we're looking at an awful large expense.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably gonna be $2.5 to $3 million. So you'd be looking
Just
for,
those spots that we're doing?
yeah,
Really?
dredging is really expensive. Hasn't gotten any cheaper.
We need to get a dredge. Get back on my-
How long are the permits good for?
It depends on the permits. It's a comprehensive dredge permit, so
Yeah.
some of them are good for 10 years and others expire. Sooner than that, water quality, things like that, that you just have to go in for retesting.
Howie, you had your hand up?
The other thing we ought to consider is we still have an open dredging project in the South River. So it might behoove us to coordinate as that moves forward and this moves forward and maybe minimize some of the dismob fees. So we should take that in consideration. How do we leverage that project in this to get the best bang for our buck?
Well, what I understand, we'd have to start that whole project, gotta start the permitting project completely over down the South River. Because by the time we get the permits, the other permits are gonna be expired. So we need to start now if we want to do that. And,
The South River, those permits have expired already?
parts of them have. Parts of the permits have expired, and by the time we get the other, this is what Fourth Engineering, this is what the big stop was on the project initially. This is why we didn't go forward with it. Because we were gonna have to redo the whole permitting process.
Yeah, that's right, because we were looking at that, and then we found out that it was gonna be several years before we could get the rest of the permits
Correct.
done.
That's correct.
So do we want to do this? Do we want to do as Howie suggests and start lining up permits for that? So this
You're
is
gonna have to come up
something
with more money for permitting itself.
Yeah. else.
And it's not in my budget for this year, it was not
Yeah.
in my budget or my capital for permitting.
Yep.
How much material did the Woods Hole group come up with? Did they, with their scan, did they come up with a number?
They haven't come back to us
Yeah,
yet.
so you have no idea whether it's a.
No, they did get They did get very good soundings, they said. Everything worked out really well for them because everything was gone.
Be like the boats and everything.
Everything,
So they
yeah,
did.
so they were able to get in all the areas. I mean, obviously there was some, like, main floats at Cole Parkway were still in place.
Yeah.
They kind of take this side,
Yeah.
versus this side and get an idea of, you don't think there's a hump like this.
But is there anything you can do to extend the ones down the Salt River?
I think most of
Base
it's
permit
expired.
zone? No?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I can check with, or I can actually check with Christine Flair, but I believe that's what stopped us. Parts of the permits that expired. Or were set to expire, and by the time we got going,
It's a shame to go back and.
that was that whole thing, remember we were talking about,
Yeah.
we need to re-permit the whole thing, and then everybody's like, well, if we're gonna do that, we should do the harbor first, because that's more
Yeah.
important, and stop that process.
Other input? Anybody? Okay,
Oh, no more.
town, Brian?
Yeah, I did a little bit back of the napkin, so to speak, math. So even with grants, down in Marshfield, obviously we would get we would be responsible for 25% if we were able to receive a grant. Marshall would be the other 25, or the harbor would be 50. So we were looking at somewhere in between $2 and $2.5 million. And right now, that would be pretty tight for us, just as an FYI, without pulling any of the levers on the revenue side. I know we're way out, but we're obviously quite a distance away. This is at least a 2 to 3 year window, so to speak, before we would even begin to have to worry about any type of financing. But we would certainly be looking at doing quite a bit of debt servicing on this. So the good news for us is in FY25, it drops significantly. The bad news is this project alone would probably take us right back to where we are now, and maybe a little bit higher. Just as an FYI.
That's an interesting comment you made about 2 bites of the apple. What are the deadlines for when's the next grant round compared to when we're gonna hear what the volume is?
I don't know, they usually have them a couple of times a year.
Yeah.
So, until we have volumes, until we have, and the other problem is until you have your match,
Right,
they're not gonna consider you.
you gotta have
So
the
you'd
match in
have,
hand,
you'd have to
yeah,
have the match in hand for the.
at the time of the application, grant
That
application.
was the initial problem we had when we started the project, Cole Parkway for the pilings.
Yeah.
We went to them and I got it in for December, but they didn't consider us until fall because we didn't have our money
Yeah.
in hand.
Yeah.
That's why we, at the fall meeting, we went and asked for, the grant match money.
Right,
And then
contingent on
as soon as we
receiving the
did
grant.
that, we moved into.
Yeah, contingent on receiving the grant, so the town meeting warrant articles.
Yeah.
Contingent. Yeah, okay, I got you.
You can't, you can't,
Yeah, it's chicken egg all over the place.
Yeah. it's everywhere.
All right, next agenda item, town fish pier regulations, but that really is just I mislabeled this one, but can you report back on the selectmen's meeting from 2 nights
Well,
ago?
they didn't vote on these. Because you had asked me to put them into the contract so you could see them before we.
Oh, yeah.
Here, even though I would have really liked.
No,
to have
no,
done
that's right.
Last night.
Yeah. Yeah, but all right, so let's talk about that first, but then also you can mention what the good news from this last week.
Yeah, so the commercial pier regulations that have been brought forward by the patrons of the town pier, the tenants, was about a half dozen additions to the regulations that were already put in place that I I had worked on correcting back in 2015 that were approved. So the first one is vessels must be federally permitted with a limited access permit for use of, to be a tenant at the town pier. Limited access means that they have a, Kevin, what kind of, what are the permits?
Limited access permits, basically, limited access permit is based permit that you buy.
Yeah.
It's not
Not an open access like.
It's not an open
It's not you can go in and get that.
Right.
no, you just go get a tuna permit,
Yeah.
$18 a year.
Or bass permit, or,
It's a permit that, it's
a-
a value to it, you have to buy it. It's got,
it's for a real commercial fisherman. That's
federal, yeah.
You've got skin in the game.
You guys, if you bought one, you exactly, you got.
So that's the first. The next one is minimum length and maximum length of the town pier. Vessel length must be a minimum of 44 feet and a maximum of 72 feet in length. And this still is at my discretion, because if it's a 44-foot boat that's still gonna get crushed by the other boats that are up there, it's, they really can't have it up there. And if it's a 72-foot boat that's 38 feet wide, it just takes up too much space and I can't have it up there. So that's still somewhat of my discretion. The pier will be limited to a maximum of 10 boats and or slips, vessels. And that kind of coincides with the length of the boat and the use of the boat. There's the restriction on the length and beam, we can get, X number of boats on either side of the pier. The vessel owners or designees must be on site during weather events. So because the boats are rafted there, you need somebody up there that's taking care of their own boat. In the past, we had the same boat break free a couple of times and take out the pilings. And it's a lot of work, a lot of cost getting back in place, and does do damage to the docks when that happens. Unauthorized vessels tied up at the pier will be fined $1,000 per day. The reason that fine is what it is because it will restrict the ability of the town pier tenant to do business, and also would restrict people that use the face to load and unload their catch. So that's why it's at $1,000. We don't want people just tying their boat up and leaving it.
That's a number that gets your attention.
It does, and it's a daily fine.
Yeah.
So it adds up pretty fast. No vessel may be left dormant for more than 90 days. So you can't just, say I'm done fishing, leave your boat there and just take off and go wherever you
Which happens.
on a European vacation. It's a working town pier, and we can't expect, people that are working daily to be, constantly moving boats. Just try to continue working. During water bans, water is to be used to fill water tanks for town pier slip tenants only. So it's to refill their water tanks so they can go to sea, and they have potable water on board their vessels. It's not to wash your boat down, clean it up. We don't even use it to wash down the cement pads that are out there. We use seawater. We'll go up there with the unit 3 and hook up the fire pump, and we'll run seawater across there if it gets bad enough.
I'm sorry, is there a maximum amount of water that each lessee is able, or that everybody's pretty
No,
good
it's,
about that?
the boats only use carry so much water. They usually see water probably for their heads and they're washing out.
Yeah, there's only, to be honest, I think it's only me and one of the both of you uses it.
Yeah.
No one really abuses it, it's not no one's got 50,000 water tank.
Well, yeah, we feel embarrassed.
Just knowledge.
Yeah.
So when the town pier was rebuilt, the town pier was rebuilt and it had 2 hoists built with it, and they're new 10 years ago. During the construction, there was a hoist that got moved to the north side of the town pier, and it's an old hoist. We keep it maintained, but it's getting more and more costly to maintain. The only time it should be used is when both hoists are down on the east side of the pier. When both of those are not working, then and only then would we make that available to be used, and we'd move the commercial fishing boats that are tied up on that side out to the face, and they tie up out there.
Is there something that we should be looking at to try to replace something like that down the road?
I mean, it could be a grant that I go for down the road. It's just, it works right now. I do keep it maintained. I have Boston Crane and Hoist come down once a year, and they do the inspections on all 3 hoists, make any changes necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And we've replaced a motor on one of the new hoists this summer. It took a little while because, supply chain, I mean, it's everybody's excuse.
It's working.
It works, everybody uses it.
Yeah.
But we did get that replaced. And we keep after it, and we're keeping after that other hoist. So right now, there's no real race to get it replaced, but it could be something down the road once we take care of all our other little dredging and.
Right.
Then it goes to lobster bait, may be left overnight, but must be removed by 10 a.m. I can't have lobster bait stewing in 90-degree weather and turning into a fly trap, it just creates a mess. We had that issue in the past. I've worked with the lobstermen and the commercial fishermen, and it's been working very well. But just to have this on there will make, we just don't need the Board of Health down there.
Give it some teeth.
Give it some teeth. Lobster traps may be left on the pier for a maximum of 24 hours. So when the lobstermen clear their gear for the closures, they'll bring it in, and a lot of times they'll come in at the end of the night, they'll load it, unload their boats. It's dark, they've been working all day, gotta give them time to get it off. We don't want it there 2, 3, 4 days, because then it slows down everybody else that's trying to clear their gear.
Which happened this year. The
other thing that I changed on the lifts themselves already was we limited them to 500 pounds maximum capacity, and it never got changed on the contract, but that's the final change that I made. And the reason for that is you need a hoist license to operate a hoist at over 500 pounds. So we used to say 1,000 pounds on the hoist. They may be able to lift a lot more than that, but they can't. Because if something happens and it says 1,000 pounds, or they know a hoist license is held back. So those are on the contract itself, and on the back page is town pier fees and registration schedule. The one added is unauthorized vessels tied up at the town pier will be fined $1,000 per day. Resident, non-resident, doesn't matter.
so, what do we, before we get into discussion, what would be the next step on this? If we approve this, do we have to recommend the selectmen do it, or?
Yeah, you don't approve it, you just recommend that the selectmen, we don't approve it.
Yeah, well, I didn't know if we, does this have to go to the selectmen, or is this just a?
No, this goes back to the
Goes back to the-
because there's a fee attached.
Yes, that's right, okay. All right, so questions, comments, Mike?
I just happened to notice the fee for the dinghies, right, so do they have a different contract for the dinghies there than for the Cole Park program? So how does that work over there for the dinghies and,
Where are the dinghies?
on your fee schedule, you have,
Town pier dockage, truck access, load unload, and transient daily dockage. Transient daily dockage is a commercial fishing boat from New Bedford comes up and is doing ground fishing in the area or scalloping or clamming. They can come up and it's $50 a night for a kayak, and we do get those.
you know, I thought I just read something on it, maybe it did, but, so the boats that tie up the docks that are there, right?
Yeah, those are,
On the north side?
North side and the south side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so on the north side, those are for transients, so anybody can go in and tie up,
Okay,
and there's no fee.
on the north side,
Yeah, and it's not for people to go tie up their boats and
Yeah.
leave there for summer, that's not what it's for. The transients that come into town with their rowboats or their inflatables, they pull in and tie up, and they go out of town and come back.
So nobody's assigned to that
No,
dock at all?
And what about the south side?
no. South side, I think it's, in the wintertime, some of the lobstermen will tie up out there.
Yeah.
Because they can't, if it ices in, they can't get out to their boats.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, but there's no set,
nobody's assigned to it.
okay, yeah, I'm just curious.
Question from Zoom land? No? Howie? No?
What is the next step? There's two things that are crossing my mind. Can we get a copy of this draft proposal, one? And two, how do the fishermen feel about it?
The town, the patrons at the town pier I worked with, and this is what they presented. So they appear to be on board with this.
And I thought this was mailed out ahead of time, on this.
I sent it, you had asked to see it,
Yeah, okay.
so I figured
Yeah,
send it
okay.
out to the.
Yep.
That's why I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
We'll do better.
So can we make a motion to, or does it?
yeah, no, we can do it.
Yeah, okay, so,
I've got that, yes.
so I'd like to make a motion to incorporate the changes that Stephen just outlined, and send it to the board of selectmen.
Second motion. So there's Brian Cronin and then Mike
Brian
Evans.
Cronin, Mike Gibbons.
No, I got it.
Oh,
We're sort of doing dual modes.
Yep. And, okay, so any other further comments from the board? Any questions from the riffraff? Audience? All right, so,
Got a motion and a second.
I know, got more second, I'm gonna do the count. Gotta call a roll.
Go to Zoom land.
Brian,
Aye.
Howie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Mike,
aye.
Dave, Rick, aye. Anybody else think Dave wants to say anything? All right, so approved, unanimous, yes. Kevin, thank you.
Well, you can just.
Okay, anything else? Fill them in on what, at the board of selectmen?
Oh, so the Board of Selectmen meeting, we were here last night and we went over the code of conduct. We discussed it, the reasons why. And Rick pointed out that it actually coincides with what you say at the beginning of every meeting. So it made sense to them and they approved it. And then we discussed the regulations regarding dock boxes and fastening hardware into the docks, whether it be fenders or screws or dock, whatever it is. And we also discussed that, you know, Rick would come down, we'd take a walk on the docks, potentially look to see if there's anything that can be done. I think one of the
Like the fall.
yeah, one of the members of the select board actually said, you mean people are actually screwing into town property? You know, it's like,
Yep. Obviously, that's happened elsewhere in town over the years.
yeah,
So,
well, he just was a little, didn't seem real, you know.
Yeah, it's like, why would you let somebody just screw into town property and do that?
Drill holes and, you know, attach things. But they approved it, so the bills, all the bills went out today. Inside the bills are contracts, requests for documents, whether it be insurance, documentation, registration, excise tax form. In there's a small page that is cut out of the contract that you have to sign and date, and it talks about dock boxes, screws, drilling holes, attaching things to the docks. It's not permitted.
We made the point last night that there wasn't any change in dock boxes. It was just continuing on and enforcing what was already there, so it wasn't a change.
And so the bills went out today, actually yesterday, and they got emailed out the day before, and with all the attachments, and actually on our website, it actually shows some of the downloadable documents, attachments that can be downloaded and filled out. And we've had people come in and start paying
Already,
already.
Mine's in the envelope, right?
weekend task.
So that's where we're at with that.
That went great.
It went really well last night. They were pretty happy that the project's moving forward, and invited them all down and come down and take a look and walk around, you know.
We had a good show for us.
Hard
Harbor
hats.
Master, Kevin.
People to wear when they go out on the project.
It's good.
Because it's ACK's property right now until they turn it over to us, so we have to, you know, follow their rules and guidelines.
Yep, just while we're talking about it, it would be a good idea to start planning to have, you know, some people from the state that are fellow funders come down and do something
Yeah,
at the beginning of the season. Because the other year when we tried to do it in the island, we waited too long, and by the time we got to it, it was.
well, they actually had it scheduled, but then
Yeah, so who should we invite?
well, the lieutenant governor couldn't make it the last time,
Yeah.
but it would be the Scituate Economic Council.
Yeah.
Helen Kabula, the lieutenant governor, and any of the members of the Scituate Economic Council. And that's a form that I fill out and I submit to them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's not like
Right.
We don't have to write a big letter in it.
No, we send it out to them. It's actually a request for them to,
Yeah, let's do that. Let's make sure we do that.
that comes, you know, as the project gets, you know, a little bit further along, I'll get that out to them.
Okay.
all right, Rick Kearney, Senator O'Connor.
Yep.
Did you invite Rip Machino?
Yeah, we do. You know.
Yeah.
So that's where we're
You're
at with that. We ordered some tickets, some raffle tickets or lottery tickets, whatever you want to call them. And
Just
we'll-
those
for
more.
kayak racks.
Oh.
And we're gonna have a little box down in the office, people can come in between now and I think we're gonna pick like May 1st and then have either the select board do the drawing to give out, you know, the yearly. It's not yours forever, it's, you know, each year you come in, you fill it out and, you know, pull the tag and it's, you know, like one per household.
Didn't you write a process when we did this?
We
last
did.
year? Yeah,
Yeah, I have it.
okay. So I thought,
There was a wait list, but that was for the first year, but
yeah,
this is the first year, and we're just gonna go right into the lottery.
oh, okay.
And how is that being marketed throughout the town?
It's gonna go up on our website and go up on the town's website. And I think there's like 6 or 10 of them, there's 2 racks.
Have you received the racks yet? Are they gonna bring them in?
Being built.
Yeah, so,
We're
pull them out at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, we don't have them, they're being manufactured in Pembroke, and I had asked when they're gonna arrive, and he said, you don't want them in the middle of winter. Sure.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, I said, I just wanna make sure. They're gonna be there.
There you go.
He assured me that they would. So that is moving forward. Pier 44, I'm not involved with. Harbor Wi-Fi, I'm pretty much not
Yep,
really
no, these are
involved
just-
in, and
yeah.
maritime scheduling, but
Yeah, so these are all old business updates. I just kept these on to make sure they were, that we're just keeping an eye on them. So the 4 of them are Maritime Center parking lot, Pier 44, Harbor Wi-Fi, and Maritime Center scheduling. Do we actually have any updates on any of those? I don't think we do, but I just wanted to check.
I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, Howie, but didn't last month we say we were gonna have a follow-up to the
We did.
shark one so that we could have a discussion and a vote in support of the project?
Yeah, let me give an update on that. The last meeting we had, Paul Barkowitz was gracious enough to come and give us a presentation of 3 different renderings that the committee has been working on with outside consultants and so forth. Since then, the first couple of weeks in February, we published a survey for those renderings to continue to ask the public what in fact that they'd be interested in. As a result of our meeting, Paul is taking on 2 things that we proposed. One is availability for a small kayak or maybe an inflatable tie-up at the park. I don't have specifics on how and where that's going to be, but that's clearly in the mix as a positive to what we're trying to develop. So the survey's been out. I went out in February. They tried to work around school vacation and so forth, but they have some of the results of that. The next thing that's going to happen immediately is next Tuesday, March 7th, there's going to be 2 public discussion meetings, one at 11 o'clock and the other one at 7 p.m. to further ask the public and answer questions for the public as to what's being proposed and how it may work. Again, all the details have not been worked out, but it's again soliciting input from the public on what they'd like to see. So it's become quite a process. It's ongoing, and it's very, very dynamic from my perspective. And yes,
Howie,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that's a week from tonight. Is that a Zoom meeting or is it a in-person meeting?
as far as I know, Rick, it's in person, both the 11 o'clock meeting and the 7 p.m. meeting. Now, I could be wrong, it's Zoom too, but I don't think so.
Where?
Senior Center.
Senior Center?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
So
senior
that
center.
continues.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, it's the library.
Library?
They do have the capability.
Okay.
The library's already-
Downstairs?
Yeah.
Upstairs.
Basically, the bottom line is the beat goes on.
Yeah.
To Mike Gibbons' point, yeah, we talked about passing a resolution. I would like to ask that the Waterways Commission pass a resolution of support for what they're now calling the Scituate Harbor Park, because I think that would be very, very beneficial to the other departments that are working and supporting this, that we are either in favor or not, but I think to support the project would be something we should consider.
So, I like the idea in principle, but I'm not sure what we would be supporting since they haven't selected a design yet.
They'll be supporting the process, Rick. They have not nailed down the exact design. And that would be nice to know, and I think that's what held us up the last time, but I think the mere fact that we support what this group is doing, soliciting input, trying to develop the property for everyone's benefit, I think that would be beneficial.
Okay. Howie, would you draft up such a letter that I could send out on letterhead if a resolution were to pass? Is that a yes?
Yes, sorry.
Alright, cool. Okay, so, you wanna make a motion?
Can we do it tonight, or do we have to have it added first, new business?
I don't think it has to be added in new business, it's on the agenda.
It's under, it's already listed here, so you can.
We can make an agenda, we can make a motion.
Okay, yeah.
One last thing.
Yeah.
Second. Tell them how we say.
Alright, so, the motion would be to the board that we write a, Howie, who would we read the letter to? Selectmen or? Yeah, cause we only advise them. So the motion would be the Waterways Commission, read a letter to the select board expressing our support for the process by which the Scituate Harbor Park Committee is moving forward with plans. And we, endorse the general direction that they're moving.
Yeah, that's good.
Something like that.
Exercising vague.
Yeah. We support the sunrises in the east. So-
Whatever you guys got.
So that's a motion by Mr. Gibbons and a second by Mr. Kelly, I thought I heard. No, I'm just. picking on him. Okay, let's go around the table. All in favor, Brian Kelly,
Aye.
Howie,
Aye.
Brian Cronin,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Mike, Dave, Stephen, and I. Okay.
I think I told you in one of my groups, it's 5 days on board, it's horrendous.
That's awful.
It's horrendous. And it's all Dave G, Dave A, Dave whatever.
Oh my God. All right, Howie, that's great. Thank you for bringing that up and making, suggesting we do that. And if you just, yeah, Howie, you can just jam out some draft language and I'll, massage it and put it on the letterhead and off it goes.
Okay, thank you for the help here.
Yeah, no, that's good. Were there any other comments about the parking lot or harbor Wi-Fi or the Maritime Center scheduling? We're just keeping it on their radar. Brian Kelly.
At the last meeting, I was under the impression that Maura gave some type of update on the parking lot, or did I imagine that?
I actually briefly spoke to her last night about it, I think, or the other day somehow, I forget actually when. But it is definitely gonna be addressed by the
DPW.
DPW. Yeah, once the boats are out by the DPW.
I think they said they're gonna do that.
The apron.
Yeah, the entrance, yeah.
That was last month that she said that, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Harbor Wi-Fi, they were going back up with that?
no, well, the TA said that they're going to be redoing it in time for this year, but they forget the exact wording he used, whether they were gonna reissue or they were going to talk to one of the vendors.
Okay.
What did they have with that? What was it, Munich or something like that? What's that?
Yeah, that's the one.
But then
we're
there,
talking about.
I don't see them pop up anywhere anymore, you used to see their.
Oh, really?
I need to meet with the TA about something, so I'll bring these up to our TA.
They had that thing up above Maria's, right?
Right, that's where their office was too.
Yeah.
Front Street too.
So are we down to,
I think we're down to financial update.
Before you go to that, could I just ask that for next month, just add in something for Cole Parkway redevelopment, because I'm your liaison to that
Yes.
group there, and I didn't make it to the last
I did.
meeting. Oh, you were there, right? So you could be the liaison.
No. I can tell you what happened.
Just so we keep tabs on anything that's
No, that's good.
over time.
We'll put that in there too.
Are they meeting monthly?
Monthly, correct, yeah.
Okay.
You can take my spot.
Okay. We'll get that on there for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Financial update, Brian?
Not,
Anything?
nothing significant until
Great.
obviously once, post April 15th, once we know the money's in.
Sure. Okay. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, waterway schedule.
Well, no, that's where we're going. Yeah.
So, waterway schedule on May 3rd. Great that it's town library. I'd like to start at the Parkway. Maybe we can take a walk on the project.
Oh,
Should be done, or it should be near done.
For the May 3rd one?
Yeah. And we meet at Cole Parkway at 6 o'clock. And we just take a walk around. Should take about 10, 15 minutes and then head over to the
Cocktails, sir?
Yeah, sure.
are you Howie and Brian, are you guys back May 3rd?
Believe so. Howie?
Yes,
So we actually might be able to just do that one in person. And we can just continue the meeting down there,
Yeah.
right?
That's fine.
Brian?
Yeah, so just to be clear, I think I
This is
heard
small
that
moments,
we would meet at Cole Parkway and then we would head to the mill. Is that what I heard? Do we need to reserve upstairs?
Yeah, so
Who's bringing the champagne to break it on?
fortunately, that's
Break it on the
I think
dock.
Dave said he was bringing his boat, so.
Fortunately, that's 2 months from now, we'll figure it out, but one option would be is we just continue having the meeting down there, and not have to jump in the car and drive up to the
That's fine.
library.
I don't know if we should really, until it's turned back over to the town, a bunch of people,
No,
like if, the public shows up, it's still their property,
correct,
ACK's.
correct. Yeah, but so,
Both deck chairs on the observation deck. And
Yeah,
quick
you can do it up in the observation deck, because
meet at the gazebo.
There you go.
that's fine. I
Okay,
just can't, I don't think I can have a bunch of running around.
absolutely not.
Will you invite ACK to come down while we're looking at the product?
I
In
can.
case we have any questions, I don't know.
Well, we can format the agenda very easily, just take from 6 to 6:30, committee members only for, visit to the docks, and then 6:30, we open it up to everybody else.
See what length of drywall screw they want you to use to put those.
Yeah, put those dog boxes down.
Prefer to use indoor ones.
All right, any questions or any questions or comments from people in the audience or anything else to bring up? Brian's okay, Howie's okay, Howie Fisheye, Kreuzberg. All right, I think we're done.
All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, made and seconded, and everybody said yes.
All right.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Stay